we'd like to welcome Angelique Noire. If you don't know who Angelique Noire is, definitely Google her. She's been a model on the mainstream for many years now, and is also the face of, or one of the faces of the pinup girl revolution. So, Angelique, would you mind telling us just a little bit about your career?
Well, I've been in the mainstream modeling business as a professional for over 15 years, and that started with Ebony Fashion Fair, because I was in that. That was my boot camp of modeling. And when I was doing that, the girls that I was working with, they had been modeling like professionally too for a number of years, and they told me this is not what real modeling is about, but you do learn a lot of stuff. And it was a great family type of thing that we've experienced, as well as I learned a lot of things about the modeling, like how to put my hair together and do my makeup and how to present myself on the runway, that type of thing. So that was like my boot camp of modeling, and that was for 9 months, touring around the United States as well as going to Bahamas and Canada. And so Angelique Noire came out of just my wanting to do more focus on the 1950s, 1940s era of modeling, because that's what I really, really like. And throughout my career, I was always thinking, okay, so I'm modeling, I'm going to be able to do this because I always see it out there, so I'm going to be able to do it. And it's like, the reality is they don't really hire black models to do that type of look. It was very rare. And so I really wanted to do more of that type of look. So that's why I created my pinup profile and all the stuff that's geared towards my pinup persona, Angelique Noire. And that's where I get to live out my passion as far as being able to do that side of me that I've always enjoyed.
So you've got 2 beautiful children. That I was able to see from your Facebook profile. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, my daughter, she's 11, and I guess her personality is more like mine in the fact that she's more quiet and reserved when she's just approaching like new people, and then once she gets to learn like how they are and she feels more comfortable, then she's more extroverted. And then my son, he's just extroverted all the way. He's like friendly with everybody.
He just lives out loud, like I like to say.
Everybody's his friend. He's Mr. Entertainer. It's like sometimes I have to like tone him down.
Yeah.
It's not a performance all the time.
One thing that stood out to me in looking through your bios and all the information you have is your faith and your courage. And I was really interested to see where that comes from. Where did you learn that?
My faith, that's based on just growing up in church.
Yeah.
My grandfather, he's a preacher, and I grew up listening to his sermons as well as just going in different churches, and that's what I grew up around. So even to this day, that's just my foundation for the courage and strength that comes from my mom. She was a single parent, and so she had to raise my sister and I, because she was very strict, but she's like, you can do whatever you want to do, but it has to be school affiliated. So my sister and I were like involved in every school activity
that you could possibly get into, right?
Everything.
What was one of the biggest lessons that you learned from her as a single mom?
Just pretty much her strength.
Yeah.
I would say that would be the biggest thing, because I would see, it was rare for me to see her crying, but I know, even as a mom myself, I'm like, I don't know how she did it, because she just had to do it. She had no choice.
Yeah.
That's what she would do. She's like, I got to raise my girls.
Yeah.
And that's what's got to happen. And if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. So
you never know how strong you are unless that's your only option, to be strong. Yeah. So I'm a new single mom. So I'm getting all of this information on, how can I be the best single mom that I can be? And that, for some reason, that quote and kind of what you're saying kind of sticks out as you just got to do it. How do you juggle kind of all of that success that you're experiencing with kind of integrating that maternal strength that you're talking about, that you want your kids to exemplify?
Well, how I juggle it is, it's like I don't work a 9-to-5 job every day, so I thank God that my schedule is pretty open. It's like, but still at the same time, it's like being a doctor. You're on call. It's like sometimes the same day you get a call, oh, you got to go to this audition. Then you have to put yourself together and go to audition. Or sometimes you get a job that's like later that evening that your agent might call you for. So it's like it's always, you don't know what's going to happen. And sometimes I can plan in advance, but most of the time it's just a day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
And with that said, it also helps that my kids are the ages that they are because they are a little bit more self-sufficient. They're not totally dependent on me as far as when they were younger. I felt like there were times where I was like, oh my God, this is too much. So I would have to take them to castings with me because
Really, Angelique? You've taken them to castings with you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I didn't have a nanny, and I was like, I was so used to because I'm from Los Angeles area. And so my family is out here. My mom, my dad, my sister, my grandparents. I have all kinds of family out here. So I'm like, I'm not going to have a nanny when I can call up my family anytime to be able to watch the kids. But still, I will only require them to help me when it was like when I was looking for a job. And I didn't want to like overextend them and be like, hey, come watch my kids because I want to go party, that type of thing. I didn't want to do stuff.
I get it. Yeah, definitely understand that. Oh, that's awesome.
There's been many castings when I would do stuff like that. And I remember times when like I was living in New York and having to carry my daughter on my back in a little hiking backpack because I hated pushing a stroller.
No, Angelique. No, you didn't. And showed up, girl. You're beautiful. You've got this glamorous career. You've got this personality. It could be very easy for someone to say, oh, well, Angelique, she's got it all. She can't relate to me. She can't relate to struggle. She can't relate to, having her heart broken or being alone.
There's not a perfect situation for everybody. Everybody has their challenges. And things that I've dealt with, a lot of people don't want to deal with. And things that other people have dealt with, I'm like, oh, no, I'd never put up with that. But with heartbreak, I've been heartbroken on several occasions. I've been involved in relationships where guys have cheated on me, and I've given them second, third, fourth chances. And
haven't we all? Haven't we all?
So I'm like, okay, it's time to move on, that type of thing. And also in the case of like when I was married before, it's like I went through a lot of periods of loneliness because I was experiencing things that I'm like domestic. Well, I was raped on several occasions by my ex-husband, and it's like, and I felt loneliness because I'm like, I can't tell anybody this because I'm like, I'd never even heard of that during the time that it was going on. I'm like, okay, I'm his wife. This is what I have to do.
Yeah.
And so that's what I kind of like toned it down as so that I'd be able to just take it. And it's like I felt like I couldn't really say this to my mom. I couldn't say this to any close friends. I just kept it in. And even several years after being divorced, I still just never even let anybody know about it. And then a turn of events happened where I was like, oh my God, I'm enabling this person to probably continue doing this to other people just by keeping my mouth closed about the situation, as well as just other things that he's done too. And I'm like, he's probably doing this to other females. And I'm like, I can't live my life with that in my conscience.
Yeah, but you had the strength to move forward and kind of you had that loyalty and that stick-to-itness in that relationship. And so that might have been kind of what is probably your positive attributes that caused you to stay there. On SPH, we've had quite a few women who have come forward and said, I've moved forward and I've become a single parent because of domestic abuse. How do you talk to your kids about that? I don't know if your children have ever witnessed it, but, how do you kind of make them understand why it is you left?
Well, my kids, they weren't clueless as far as because he was a different person in the home than he was outside of the home. So that it wasn't like he was a tyrant all the time. No,
Yeah.
there were good times. I was like, that's what kept me going, because I'm like, okay, he's a good person. I know that he has goodness in him, so that's what's positive. I'm going to cling on to it. But my kids, when we first separated, it's like, I even remember we were separated for 9 months, and it's like they wouldn't inquire about their dad, like, when is he coming back? They knew. It's like, even as young, at the time, they were like, my daughter, she was probably 5 or 6, and my son was 2 or 3, but they didn't ask too much about where's dad, when is he coming, that type of thing. They knew that he just came occasionally to pick them up and drop them off, and that was it.
Angelique, what kind of words of wisdom would you have? I mean, even for myself as a newly single mom, about dealing with the stress and kind of the overwhelm and maybe going through that separation time. How do you get through it?
I get through it because I know that in life there's always ups and downs, and there's always times in which you're celebrating, there's always times in which you're going to be working hard, there's times where you're going to feel overwhelmed. That's just the part of life. I'm like, this is the reality of things. It's just a matter of me getting to the next day and appreciating the victories of that day and the lessons that I've learned of that day. And it's just a day-to-day thing.
I know that you're now in a healthy relationship. Here's the question. I know a lot, especially of women, kind of get into a cycle of abuse, maybe. And kind of, how did you decide, how did you determine this is what I'm going to take, this is what I'm not, and end up picking, a gentleman that's right for you and right for your family? I
just learned from my mistakes and learned from my experiences, and as well as the relationship that I'm in now. He's seen different things that have gone on in my life, and he's been there and stuck through it, and I think he's gone over and beyond what what a person's threshold of things that they can can take on.
Are you saying you put him through the ringer, Angelique?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, I didn't trust people too much, because I didn't trust guys. It's like, yeah, I'll go on a date with you, but I don't think I'm gonna be serious with you, because I don't think you can handle it. I don't think you can handle my life. I still have to raise my 2 kids, and sometimes their dad wants to be involved in whatever way and do whatever he wants to do, and it's like, it's not a fun situation sometimes. My life is not a fun situation sometimes.
Look, I'm definitely going to put that somewhere. My life is not a fun situation.
You've seen it all, so I haven't scared him away.
Exactly. Angelique, it's been such a pleasure. I think you're such an inspiration, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure the audience is just going to love this, and keep doing what you're doing. We're supporting you, and we just love you. So thank you so much for joining us, Angelique.